Hello everyone, Archangel Wedgio here. Today I'm back with a post-banlist Tearlament updated deck profile. I know it's been a while since my last one. I didn't do too hot at a couple of tournaments, and I stopped playing the deck for a little bit, just not really giving up on it, but I want to try new things. I was honestly going to do Flu for a while. I was going to do a profile on that, but then the ban list dropped, and now I'm really excited to show you guys what I've done with the deck. There's a few neat changes, a few cool additions, and I really think you guys are going to like it. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. Starting off pretty standard, we're still on 3 Rhino. I think it's one of the better cards in the deck, just being able to see it later. Normal summon it, guarantee a fusion summon. Worst case scenario, turn 1 you normal summon it, mills 2. Turns on all your back row, it's just a really good card. Still have to play one of each name. Unfortunately they're all still limited, but you still have to max them out, just because they're the best cards in the deck. And then the 3 honorary Tearlament names, this is Kalos at home, just because it makes Rukalos and Grapha. Still playing Poly because I think that's a really good second option. Forming big chain links to stop anything from happening Chimera is really nice, and just going really plus off that. And then finally for tier names we have 3 Tearlaments Kashtira. Still one of the better cards. Sucks you can't fuse with it, but you gotta do what you gotta do. On to next we have 2 copies of Fenrir. I was originally playing 3. I feel like 2 is a bit more correct, mostly because my math of it was wrong. It's good to start with, but it's really bad late game, and really bad draw, and a really bad mill. But my thing is that you always want to see it, because it's getting bricks out of the deck. I was incorrect in that, because when you're summoning Fenrir, it's almost always searching tier cache, so if you're playing 3, there's still 2 dead cards left in your deck, as opposed to other decks that when they're Fenrir summoning or searching Fenrir, they're only left with 1 dead card in their deck, and even then, if their board gets cleared, they can summon it. With Tearlament, your board is very sticky, so it's hard to completely get rid of it, and especially without killing. If your board gets completely outed, they're probably killing you, but if not, it's not very likely. So I want to cut it down to 2, just because it's still a good draw, still a good go second card, but I don't want to brick on them. 2 Diviner, still on 2 of this. The list is at 42, just because I wanted to have a few good inclusions, and I still want to have this in the graveyard for something that I will show you guys in a bit. And then still playing each of the Ishizus, one of each. Mudora and Keldo are honestly some of the MVPs of the deck. They can do so much, and now that we're not in a Kashtira meta, that they really shine. Just how good their effects are. Still on the 2 Shaddols. I think these are the best 2. I think if you cut Hollow for Squamata, that's something you could do. I'm personally not a fan, because if you mill both of these, I want both of their effects to be live, but if you mill Beast first and then a Squamata, it's just kind of dead. But this is always going to do something. And I'm back on Dangers. I originally wanted to include these and the Destiny Heroes, but it just got a bit too cloggy. You could definitely include 2 Malicious in here with a Denier, and change a bit your extra deck to revolve more around Beatrice. I like the Dangers, 3 Nessie, 1 Mothman, just because they're good extenders. They're good fusion material, Nessie makes Garura a lot easier to go into. As well as synergizing with Jet Synchron, which I'm back on. This card enables a lot of really cool things, and I think that it's a lot better moving into the next format. On to spells, 3 Planet, still no terraforming. I think if I was on Wraithsoth, I would probably cut this to 2, play 1 Wraithsoth and a terraforming, but I just don't think it's worth, just because it's another bad mill, and it can brick your hand, because this is once per turn, but it is still a really nice card to see. So obviously milling these and then drawing a terraforming is bad. There's a lot of reasons, but I'm not on terraforming. Moving on, we have 2 Scream. Cut this down to 2 just because I wanted to keep the list as low as I could. And milling like multiples of these is really bad. 1 Grief, still a really big fan of Grief. I'm back on Trivikarma, so Grief gets a lot better because you can search it. But just being able to like grab back a Banish Trap is really nice. 3 Super Poly, no longer on Book of Eclipse. I feel like Super Poly is just one of the better non-engine pieces you can be playing. Really nice at clearing boards, really nice at dodging stuff. I still think this card is worth playing. 1 Foolish and 1 Poly. Just kind of the 2 1-0s that are really good. Traps, 2 Celiac, Meta Noise, and Trivikarma, pretty self-explanatory. Meta Noise is mostly here for the graveyard effect, being able to keep your resource loop of tier cache going, but it is still a really nice piece of back row. Onto the extra deck, we have Kaleidoheart, Rokalos, and Grapha for kind of the King of the Swamp-esque fusions. Obviously still on the basics of Mudragon, Dragostopalian, and Garura. I see some lists cutting Garura, and that's kind of why I wanted to play Nessie, because Garura is one of the better cards in the extra deck. Just being able to let you draw and then get you another body to make Dragostopalia is really nice. I also considered Instant Fusion for a while, but it just wasn't as impactful as I thought it would be. Because in theory, it always guarantees you like a level 4 for Xyz plays or fusion in your graveyard to fuse with into like Dragostopalia. But in practice, it's just not as impactful as I would have hoped. And then Winda and Guardian Chimera for the rest of the fusions. Only on one Link monster, which is Cross Sheep. I've tried Sprint in the deck. I think it was in my last profile. It never came up. If I was making Sheep, I was always ending on it. The only time Sprint came up was when I was dumping a Scatter Shot to get the last bit of damage in. Other than that, it's not consistent enough since Merle's at 1. It's just going to be randomly milled or more off hitting it that way. It's just never come up for me to make Sprint. Onto Xyz, we're on Dweller, Baguska, and Redoer. I did end up cutting Zeus to enable some synchro lines, but there is a card in the extra deck that you can definitely cut for Zeus. I'm just testing it out. Baguska is also not as good, but still with Fluanders being a bit more popular, you should still probably be playing it. For the Synchros, the Synchro 8 I'm playing is a Cell Synchro, because if you make this, you can bring back Diviner, and then you can trigger Diviner effect that way. Or you can just make Baron. I'm also playing a Stardust Dragon, because if you bring Diviner back and use its effect, you can chain this to Synchro into the Stardust, and then the Stardust can Synchro with the Diviner into Baron, and you can get the best of both worlds. You can trigger Diviner, and you still get your Synchro 10, which is really nice. It hasn't come up yet, but in theory it is a really nice line you can do. So I'm going to keep it in for now, but the Stardust could very easily be a Zeus, or a variety of other things, another good Synchro 8, like a Dragite. Moving on to the side deck, starting off we have 3 Bestials. If I notice Tears a bit more popular, I'll probably end up bumping these numbers up, like maybe the 3rd Druisworm and a Baldrake or 2. But for right now, just 3. 3 Droplet, very excited we get to play this card again. A lot better post-siding, being able to manipulate your hand, sending things like a Poly, especially going second, activating Poly and then like chaining Droplet is really nice. It can also help you dodge Floodgates, which is cool. If you go like normal Rhinoheart effect and they have like a Rivalry or Gozen and a monster, you can send it so that when you're activating the effect to fuse, you can actually fuse into something, which is really nice. 3 Lava Golem. This card is really good versus Unchained. If they go for the normal board, you tribute both their monsters. If they go for the Griffin board, you tribute both their monsters. It's just a really nice card. 3 There Can Be Only One. This is kind of the flex spot in the side deck. Originally it was Orange Light, but I found that it just wasn't consistent enough to run Orange Light, so I decided that this is one of the better floodgates in the deck. It stops Flu, it stops Unchained, it stops Dragon Link, which are some of your hardest matchups. So, just a really nice card to play, definitely an auto-include. And then Heartbeat, Crime, and the last card is a card that I do not have yet, but it's Magical Hound. This card says if it's in your hand or graveyard, you can target a face-up spell trap your opponent controls, return it to the hand, and summon it, and it's a level 1 tuner. So it's just kind of like Jet Synchron 2, but it's good going second out Floodgates. It's really nice. It's a level 1 Earth tuner. Definitely should be playing it, but I don't know where mine went. But other than that, the last 2 are pretty self-explanatory. These both get a bit better if you're on Trivikarma, because they're both searchable. There's a world where you honestly play 3 Heartbeat, if you're like worried about back row. Honestly, just play 3 Heartbeat over Cosmic, just because you don't need to have any tier monsters or anything on your field. This is always just activate, discard, spin a back row. But with all that being said, thank you all for watching. Let me know what you guys think down below, and I will catch you guys next time.